What's up guys, another video today on a little bit more strategic side, and I want to talk about the bench today and how to actually use it in a correct way. And there are generally three main ways that you will use your bench in, and I just want to go over all of them and explain them so you can actually master this. Because when you're gonna use the bench correctly with the right cycling, rerolling, then you basically understand the game mode to the point where you will be losing very rarely. Um, so while I yap about this, I have a very interesting game here. I got 2 4 stars, so I hope you enjoy that while I talk. Um, so of course, first the main way you're gonna use your bench in is to put down the units you want to upgrade to 3 stars, because you need all 4 units to upgrade your characters to 4 stars. And the fact is that most of the times you won't be placing down a 2-star unit and a 1-star unit of the same troop, because that usually doesn't make sense. It doesn't give you the synergies, and synergies in most cases are very important and they give you great buffs. So that's usually not worth doing, and because of that you're probably gonna leave those troops to wait for another one to upgrade it to 3 stars on the bench. And so that is gonna be the first and main use of this. And it's interesting here, on the bench actually, because when I first started playing I didn't even understand why the bench is there. I basically wasn't using it, and I was usually just buying 1-star units, placing them down, and either kept them on the board or just sold them right away. So this kind of ties into the second tip I have, which is the second way of using the bench is gonna be so you can actually upgrade your units to 2 stars and sell them for that extra elixir that you get from merging. Because the fact is that your optimal way for cycling, especially with Empress for example, not as much for King, but even for that, is to just upgrade 2-star units like Bomber for example, who is rarely used, so it's mostly gonna be free, like the entire pool of them, so you're easily gonna get him 2 stars, and just cycle that, so you actually don't lose on that elixir. And the fact is that Bomber doesn't really fit in that many synergies. I mean, you have Throwers, which basically no one uses, and then you have Undead, which some people use, but it's very rarely, and it's mostly used in 2-troop combos, like with Skeleton King and Royal Ghost, for example. So you're gonna put those on the bench and just keep selling them. And you want to keep selling them at 2 stars. Don't really wait for 3 stars, because that's gonna be much harder to get. Um, and you just are not losing on that much elixir, right? Because if you sell every unit at 1 star, then each time you sell it you're gonna lose on 1 elixir. And if you upgrade it to 2 stars, then you're 1 elixir down for 2 troops instead of 2 elixir down for 2 troops, because you get a bonus elixir from the merge. And if you're playing Empress, it's even better, because you get a bonus elixir from the merge, so you actually don't lose anything. It is basically a free reroll. So that's one thing. And now there is basically the last thing that I feel like most people haven't really thought about, and it's interesting because you can actually implement it in your strategy against other people. And probably even if you're a bit higher, you might have not thought of this, but I have tried to use this in certain scenarios. And what I'm talking about is basically especially when you get into the late game, you can put certain troops from the opponent squad on your bench. And what that does is that basically they will be prevented from getting that troop, because there's only, I mean, unless you have some special modifiers, in every game there are 4 troops, because the entire pool consists of 4 of each troop for all 4 of the players. I mean, if you knock out someone, then those troops go back into the pool. So when you're gonna be in a matchup against the last guy, so there's only 2 of you left, there's gonna be 4 of each troop for both of you. So you can basically get a 3-star of any troop you want, unless the opponent has it. And that means that when you get into the later rounds, when someone is knocked out, you can rush to get those units before your opponent, so he can get it to 3 stars. And that can be huge sometimes, because the difference between a 2-star troop and 3-star troop is quite big actually. And so it can probably win you the game. The only issue with this is that there's going to be a lot of times when you're going to have a full bench already, either from your troops that you want to upgrade to 3 stars, or just because you're cycling and you want to save those 1-star troops. You don't really want to sell those 1-star troops right away, so you save them on the bench to upgrade them to 2 stars to sell them then for less of a negative trade on Elixir. So sometimes it's just not gonna work out in that case. But like for example with Empress, a lot of times you're gonna be in the late rounds and you're gonna have like 20 elixir, and there's no way for you to spend it actually. So in that case, it doesn't really matter if you sell 1-star units and have like 2 spots on the bench to just steal the troops from your opponent. And that's basically the third way that you can use the bench in. And it's important to, when playing, think of all this stuff. I mean, of course, I think probably most people already use it just to save up their units for a 3-star upgrade. I feel like that people figure out very quickly. But even though, there are still people who don't understand this. And I mean, at most of the games, when you're gonna be playing to a point that you're gonna leave your... I mean, most of the games which you will win, you probably had a full bench. And it's important to utilize it. It gives you a big advantage if you do it correctly, and I feel like a lot of people don't actually use it. And I have another a thought of basically bench as a whole. I'm not a fan. I mean, I'm not that much of a fan of a, let's say, live view of opponent's placement. And what they could do is just kind of show icons and stars of each troop that the opponent has, and then instead of like me being able to see their position, I get to see what troops they actually have on the bench as well. So you're kind of trading the information from positioning, so you kind of involve more skill in actual positioning of your troops, and add the ability to see bench troops as well, so you kind of are able to adapt more strategy to your plays. Because I feel like many people are not fans of the idea that someone can bench troops and then just like kind of prevent you from getting them. I mean, of course you can do that to them as well, but as said, not always is gonna work out. And yeah, I mean, we'll see what they do, but personally I feel like it's a nice part of strategy. If you can pull it off, it's quite fun. It's kind of like BMing at that point. But that's basically all my thoughts, so let me know what you think. Is there any other important way that you can use your bench? Comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe if you find these videos helpful, so I can do more of them. And I'll see you in the next one.